woman, but that doesn't need to impose on my ability to do what makes life meaningful for me.
Right.
I'm still living in a world where these structures exist, and I'm still going to find myself burdened with um these sort of norms and expectations that are put upon me. Like, obviously I'm not living the most traditional womanly life. And but like there are still times where I'm like, oh, like, I don't look very good in this, like, this isn't very flattering, or like, oh, like, I should start wearing makeup more, or like, maybe I should grow out my hair finally and like stop fucking cutting my own hair because like it looks bad, but then I always come back to like, I'd rather have a bad haircut that looks kind of cool than
Yeah.
a good haircut. But like those, like, it takes effort to not sink back into that. And then I think there's a, maybe I can find a quote from her about this. Probably not, because I have so many documents in my laptop about this stuff. But let's see.
While you're looking for that real quick, I just so hear a parallel between um which I haven't really made this connection blatantly before, but I think it's always kind of been there. But this existentialist idea of like choosing every day, every moment, the awareness of choosing and choosing meaning, um, is very similar to David Foster Wallace's Kenyon College commencement address, This is Water,
Oh,
which I recommend. I enjoy it. About
it's a
like
short listen
choosing.
or watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, or
And
read.
D, all of the above. But like choosing awareness as opposed to kind of sinking back into the mundanity of like it's so easy to be distracted by reality from reality. And I think that
Yeah.
that is true of all of us in some sense of like reality can distract us from the enigma. In the same way that like being a woman, it's easy to like be distracted from your awareness of like actively rewiring your idea of what your gender and womanhood means to you. It's easy to
Yeah.
be like, this doesn't look very flattering on me, you know? And is that
Yeah.
the way that you want to express your womanhood or not? But just a
I
thought
mean,
on the
yeah.
choice comparison there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is like, and this is kind of the paradox of it, because once a woman has become aware, like, oh, there are these sort of, I was raised in a society where these expectations were put upon me, expectations that are really quite limiting, still within my right to choose if I want to live in that way, but like, wow, this, like, I'm capable of so much more. And then the paradox comes in when it's like, at least on her account, and this is something I do agree with, like, let's say I become like a CEO of a big company, but if I kind of parade around the fact that like, oh, I'm a woman in like a male-dominated field, and like I've done so well for myself considering the fact that I'm a woman, or like despite the fact that I'm a woman, it's still kind of like, is that really, are you really kind of living your own freedom? Or are you still
Right.
kind of constraining what you think is possible for yourself based on these expectations and norms that, yes, granted, you are pushing back on and overcoming, but in acknowledging like, oh, I'm doing so good because this is where the bar was, and look where I am, like,
Right.
it's still sort of um like, I don't there's like a phrase for it where it's um like, it's almost accepting the low expectations that you were
Mm.
born into, and then praising yourself for transcending those low expectations. But really, like, you shouldn't even be thinking about those limitations. Unless, I mean, I feel like we're kind of living in a time where, like, in terms of equality of opportunity for women, not for all women necessarily, but like, generally speaking, we're going in the right direction. And like,
Right.
I can apply to like any job I want to if I'm qualified, and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it is interesting because I agree with you that we're moving in the right direction, but it's interesting how like the echoes of it still reverberate through um behavior, not
Yeah.
just in like, of course, I think everyone's had like a sexist experience at
Oh,
some
yeah.
point in their life that it's like, oh, well, that's not cool. And people still think like that, you know, like we were talking about earlier with
Oh,
the
yes.
incels up in our
They
comments.
certainly do. They really do.
But
A lot.
at the
It's
same
crazy.
right. But at the same time, if you were to just look at the like front facing laws, like, well, I guess there's a debate there with Roe v. Wade, but
Yeah.
I agree that we're moving in the right direction and we're better than we ever have been, certainly in terms of the rights of women. Um, but it going back to what you're talking about with the choice of being a mother too, it's like any choice you make, even as you think about the ability to move beyond what women before us have done, like if you're raising above the bar, you're still defining yourself by the bar, right? And
Yes.
that's something that I've thought about a lot in my um relationship to motherhood, and if I want to be a mother and do I want to have kids, there is something in me that is so resistant to the idea of
Really?
being a mom. Like
Oh.
even though I'm a very
Yeah, see, I almost caught
like
myself. I was about to say, like, you would be a great mom, which, like, you would, but, like,
thank you.
like,
Well, that's something that a lot of people say, you know, and I always take
yeah.
it as a compliment because what I hear when people say that is you're a very nurturing person, you're a very warm person, you care very deeply, and those are qualities that I'm very proud to have. But do we need I think I resist like the necessity of that being equated with motherhood,
Yeah. Like,
especially
there are
like
other things that you can do with those wonderful
right.
qualities.
And
So
if
it's
you
like, why is
saw
everyone saying, like, "Oh, I'm recognizing you have these qualities," and then jumping straight to, "Oh my god, when are you gonna have kids?"
right, right. And I
Yeah.
think that like it's very rare to hear you would be such a good father. You know, even if a man is very nurturing and kind and warm, it's like I
That's
think
true.
I've never heard that said. So
Yeah.
I I I have, but what I was gonna say is like I'm very resistant to it, but then there's this because I don't think that it's really what I want in this lifetime. However, there's a piece of me as someone who like strongly identifies as an intersectional feminist that is aware of the like counter reaction that I could be having to the expectation of
Yeah, yeah,
motherhood,
yeah.
right?
Like,
And
rejecting that so strongly is also a sort of, like, defining yourself it's still defining yourself within, like, a man's world, in a way, because
exactly,
it's like,
and that
"Oh, this is this expectation that I'm supposed to be like this, but, you know,
and
well,
I
I
will
don't wanna do what
never
men tell me to do, so" yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I really resent the fact that I will never know what my feeling is in isolation. Because
Mm,
even if I do feel this way now, it's like that's still a valid thing to feel. But I wish that I had a feeling that didn't exist in the paradigm where I feel like choosing to be a mother comes with a whole
yeah,
host of other things about feminism and motherhood and womanhood and you know the
yeah,
list goes on, and like I can't separate my true desires from the culturalization of the phenomenon of motherhood. And I think that goes back to what you were saying about the bar, right?
mhm,
And even the choice to like be a girl boss CEO, which is very much the like I think we're moving out of that age of feminism for
yeah,
sure. And I've seen a lot of people arguing that we're moving into a new age of feminism, which I think is exciting. Which I think that's only something that can be defined in retrospect. But all of that to say, I think that is a similar thing too, where women, the same way I can't separate my decision to be a mother from all of these complex feelings and emotions around womanhood and feminism, we also can't separate our decision to like be a girl boss CEO and rise above the expectation from the idea that it's like, well, am I just wanting to do that to like prove a point?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
is this really what I want, you know? And
Absolutely. Yeah.
when you've been told you're supposed to want something your whole life, like how much is rebellion, how much is true desire, and how much is some weird combination therein of different socialization and cultural expectations.
Yeah, yeah.